Welcome back to Add It to the List, a podcast where two friends are going through an imaginary list of movies. My name is Avelio, and joining me is.
Larry.
And today we're going to go ahead and discuss Batman. Last week was Star Wars, so this week is one of my favorite topics, Batman. This week I really want to go over, before we go, what's our order of favorites. I just want to hear what you got to say about Batman, the original
The very first one?
very first one.
Oh, man.
Because you didn't see it as a kid. I saw it as a kid after watching the cheesy Batman.
Talking about Adam West?
Yes.
Yeah, I never watched Adam West. I really hope we don't get to that point.
I wouldn't make you suffer that.
That
no.
you made me watch Maximum Overdrive, so I believe you'll make me watch anything at this point.
But not a whole series.
Yeah, that would be too much.
Yeah, that would be a little too much.
But the first Batman, I mean, I'm gonna put it. It's one of my favorite Batman movies. It wrapped me up. It got me invested in the movie as soon as it started. The only thing I will say that because I didn't watch this movie as a kid, and because I'm watching it with some movie knowledge and knowledge of actors and knowledge of Americana,
True.
that it was distracting having Michael Keaton as Batman.
I understand that, because even me as a kid, I watched it, but you got to keep in mind, I watched it after this dude was Mr. Mom.
Yeah.
So this
I
dude
don't know
was
what that is, but yeah.
it's a cheesy comedy film where he's
Okay.
literally Mr. Mom, like stay at home dad.
Yeah.
And he was like that goofy guy. That's what Michael Keaton was essentially. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he goes to I'm Batman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
See,
it was dope. To me, it was dope.
To me, every time he was gonna say I'm Batman, I kept hearing I'm Birdman or I'm Falcon, and it made me laugh.
Oh, Birdman is that movie he made.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you never watched it, have you?
The Birdman movie?
Yeah.
No, I refuse to at this point.
Well, add it to the list, my friend.
Oh,
We're
God.
gonna have to discuss that. But as far as Batman goes, I remember watching it as a kid, and I loved it, bro. Like the darkness, the Tim Burtonness of it all. Because now that you know Tim Burton,
Yeah.
you
it makes
know
sense.
it's Tim Burton. It's that whole movie is Tim Burton.
Yes.
All right, and it's dope. To me, it was just perfect. But I've always wondered, because I know, and we've talked about this before for years, is as far as like that you don't go through movies that I know. So I've always wondered what your opinion was of just Batman.
Batman was great. I loved it. It was heavily. I expected less of the romantic aspect of it, but I feel like it wasn't enough to draw my attention away from him being Batman and being enthralled by Batman. Because I watch a lot of cartoons. They don't
Yeah.
know this. You know this.
Yeah.
Cartoons are my thing.
Yes.
When we start getting into animated movies, you're gonna hear a lot more from me.
Yes.
But it still, Batman still captivated me in this movie. There was not enough going on in the background to be distracting to me. It was a perfect level. I liked it. I
Yeah.
enjoyed the movie. I will watch it again.
I love it because it has so much like darkness and like humor to it. Like one of my favorite scenes, even to this day, watching it, and I swear I can rewind it and put it back over and over again, is the part where he asks her weight, and then he's like, "You lied."
Yeah. Yeah. You lied.
You lied.
I'm 108 pounds. You lied.
I think that's like so pimp, for a Batman to just be like, "You lied," and just lets her go. You know what I mean? Like
I know the capability of my equipment. You're over.
That's why I love that, because it's just like, I think that's what makes Batman Batman, right? Because it's like he's still no superpowers. He's human like, just like us, and basically relies on gadgets. And who here doesn't like gadgets?
Everyone likes gadgets.
That's why James Bond is like such a huge franchise. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Any spy movie for that matter.
Yeah, except for Austin Powers. That's huge for a different reason.
Yes. Innuendos galore.
Yes.
Yeah, but I've always wondered that. But now, because we've already kind of discussed.
Yes.
And this is where
we disagree.
Yeah, where we definitely disagree, and maybe the mic is probably gonna get a little loud. But
Be cautious of popping.
so I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna say my order. I'm gonna say my order of movies from favorite to least. Again, this is Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. And my order of least liked, well, from most liked to least liked, is Batman Returns, Batman, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin.
I feel like I'm gonna be criticized again, but mine was Batman, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, and no,
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns, and then Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Because Batman and Robin was my least favorite.
And I think the whole world agrees with that.
Yeah, it kind of killed the franchise.
Yeah. Well, nearly. Thankfully, it came back with the Nolan flicks.
Yeah, I was talking about that because it kind of had. I didn't expect it to have the continuous story because it's a progression. Even though they changed actors, I expected when we went from Batman Returns with Michael Keaton, returning and reprising his role as Batman. I expected Batman Forever to restart the storyline.
Yeah, because that's typically what they do now.
Yeah, nowadays that's what they do, and so when it continued the same storyline with Val Kilmer, I really enjoyed it. I also preferred Val Kilmer as Batman.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but he kind of had that suave Bruce Wayne. He had that swagger to him. Michael Keaton was kind of silly, kind of his self-esteem wasn't there. He was still kind of like early Batman. It was almost like Batman year one-ish, but obviously not because he had the Batmobile and things like that.
Yeah. I get where you're going. What I don't understand is because like Tim Burton, Tim Burton is Tim Burton. The first two movies,
Yes.
hands down, Tim Burton. Like there's no other creepiness that can be made from Tim Burton's films that like he makes it, And I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I hope I am.
He's a creepy dude.
Yeah, he's a creepy dude.
Yeah.
But his creepiness somehow visually is amazing. And to me, when I watch Batman Returns, maybe again it's nostalgic because we talk about that because again I watched these as kids.
Yeah, you have a big nostalgia factor when it comes to these movies.
When I see Catwoman do her backflips in front of Penguin and Batman, and just turn around and go meow, and then everything just blows up.
Yeah,
That's like on par to me, on par, with like visual masterpiece, as like when the Joker does it in The Dark Knight.
yes.
I know you know what I'm talking about there.
Yeah,
It is just, it's just a thing of beauty, that movie.
yeah,
And the fact that he was managed. There's still movies to this day, in the new DC movies, the Marvel movies, that can't get away with having more than one villain.
yeah.
They can't pull it off. And this movie not only pulled it off, but did it like great. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's where we disagree though.
Yeah.
Because the reason that I put Batman Returns as third on my list was because it felt too crowded. You have a new love interest. You have two new villains. You have like the introduction of like this mafia boss, essentially with Christopher Walken, and it was too much for me. I didn't know who was the main bad guy. I didn't know if it was Christopher Walken. I didn't know if it was Penguin. I didn't know, who it was. I got distracted. There was too much going on for me, and I couldn't handle it.
But see, that's where it gets crazy to me. Because then you say Batman Forever is better when you have essentially Jim Carrey going off the wall. Jim Carrey, like the craziest Jim Carrey you could ever see, and then Tommy Lee Jones, bless him, bless that man,
Great man, horrible acting right there.
because he tried to one up
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, and that's what's most popularly known about this flick. And then not to mention the ambiance in that film completely changed after Schumacher, or whatever you pronounce his name, got it. It just it's no longer the same. It's slow. It's like dirt. Like it just looks dirty. Even when he's like when like when he's just going around Gotham, it's just not the same.
I loved it.
No, I hate it
I
every
loved
second
it.
of it.
I
Every
think-
second of it.
I think first
But
off,
don't get me wrong. I still, and you know this, I will still watch Batman Forever at least 3-4 times a year.
yeah,
Same thing with Batman and Robin, which we're also going to discuss in a bit.
I think
But the fact that you think this is better than Batman and Batman Returns to me is wild.
one thing that I have to say is if you don't like over the top Jim Carrey, you're not a Jim Carrey fan. Because over the top Jim Carrey is why I love Jim Carrey.
I disagree, man. Like think about it this way: Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey in what was it? Dumb and Dumber 2, the actual sequel where
Uh-huh.
he came back.
Yeah,
Like it's again over the top Jim Carrey, and
I haven't watched
it's
it.
hard to watch.
I'm not a big fan of the Dumb and Dumber franchise. I'm not gonna lie,
And
I watched the
that's
first one.
over the top Jim Carrey.
But to me, over the top Jim Carrey is also Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events.
I don't know. See, that's not to
He-
me.
he
That's
goes,
not
he
him.
goes wild in that movie.
I don't think he goes wild in that movie. I think that's just him playing his range, but I don't think it's him going crazy like he did it in the Riddler. Like he went crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
but
he went crazy, like to a whole nother level. Not as crazy as he went when he started playing that character of the method acting, where he started to go crazy for it.
are you talking about like Dark Crimes or
No,
whatever?
no. The movie he went on crazy is Man on the Moon, where he played the comedian Andy something. I always forget his name. But that's the movie where he legit loses it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But as far as like craziness is the Riddler, man. Like the Riddler is just so over the top,
well, in his defense, the Riddler is crazy.
but not like that.
He's
Not
still
like
crazy.
that. You're talking about the Riddler is a guy who is just completely like logical and like systematic in the way he wants to torture Batman.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And this
Yes.
fool was like he's like giggly and like just I don't know how else to say, but just Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but also I really enjoyed seeing Tommy Lee Jones being silly and serious at the same time, because you always see serious Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
I watched him in The Fugitive. I watched him in U.S. Marshals. I watched him in Volcano. Anytime you see Tommy Lee Jones, it's the Tommy Lee Jones scowl. The eyebrows are down. The jowls are real. It's just Tommy Lee Jones, and I love it.
No, and I get it. I love Tommy Lee Jones. I will always, one of the things about Tommy Lee Jones, and this again we went over it last time, is, it's the whole appreciation for like the culture.
Yeah.
And he did this movie called The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada. Such an underrated movie. I love that movie. It's about, basically him burying a close immigrant friend.
Yeah.
Just to put it that way. And he's great in it. I love Tommy Lee Jones as an actor. This dude is amazing. However, he really went above and beyond.
And I loved it.
And it was bad. Like it was almost to the point where like you felt bad for the dude because it's not him.
I loved it.
It's not him. He could have been great. Two-Face is great because it's such an inner, turmoil of bad and evil.
I preferred him to
good
the
and
Dark
evil.
Knight Two-Face.
No.
It reminded me of the cartoon Two-Face, where half the time he's laughing uncontrollably, and half the time he's angry and serious. And I think he almost captured it. It wasn't perfect, but it was almost nostalgia for me to see that, because I've watched Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond. But I think Two-Face was in Batman Beyond. I believe he was, not long, but he was in it. It was only 3 seasons, but it was almost nostalgic for me to see that cartoon-like Two-Face, and then Tommy Lee Jones with a makeup induced smile. It was just I loved it.
Not to mention, I always forget the girl that does bad, but Drew Barrymore as the girl, the good girl, and then the bad girl. I always forget her name, but she has beautiful eyes. That's the one thing I always remembered even as a kid. She has beautiful eyes. Like just the fact that has to be set up like where he's having to eat, like his whole room is split in half, like that's above and beyond exaggerated.
I loved it.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just unnecessary. When this guy is just by definition is amazing because he is like his inner demons are battling him out.
Yeah.
On the outside.
Now, if you want to talk about over the top and excessive, we can start talking about Batman and Robin.
Well, yeah, that one we can trash all day long, and justly so, right? Because it's like I told you this, and I will say it's a punny movie.
Yes,
it is. By definition, every so often there's a pun. Yeah. Meant to be, and I get it. It was meant to be for kids. Like progressively, this franchise became more and more for kids.
Cause, once you got out of the Tim Burton darkness.
Well, it's because you weren't in that era, but but in that era, one of the biggest things was McDonald's Happy Meal toys. Yeah. And for Batman Returns, they like argued with Tim Burton to like make it more kid friendly, and he was like, no, like this is my vision. That's why I respect that movie way more, because he was like, nah, man, forget that, I'm gonna make it my way, and this is how it's gonna go. And what does he make? Even you said it last time, it made it to where you will never forget him eating those fish, or him biting that guy's nose. Come on, you gotta admit that was dope as hell.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. In my order of total Batman, it's The Dark Knight is first. Just because it's the Heath Ledger playing the psychotic Joker, the true psychopath Joker, is number one. Number two is Batman, because you see the Joker in what a real gangster Joker should be, not this Jared Leto bullshit that we got. Yeah, I hated that.
That was pretty bad.
You want to see gangster Joker? Look at Batman.
Yeah, I agree. I hated Jared Leto's Batman. I left the day I left Suicide Squad, the movie theater. I mean, I remember specifically making fun of that laugh to the point where my wife was like, "Can you stop? Because this is equally as bad in the movie as it is here in real life." Yeah. Like it's horrible. Like this dude, I get the whole method acting, good for him, but it sucked. But Batman and Robin for sure, hands down. Out of all the Batman and Robins, well, because technically you didn't watch Batman the movie, the Adam West movie.
No, I've never seen that.
But I didn't make you watch that. And the reason why is because that's a whole nother level of Batman.
That's a different Batman.
That's cheesy, campy.
Yeah.
Like it, man. Almost like let's smoke a joint to this Batman.
Yeah, I think that's my bottom level Batman. Something that I love Batman, and I can't get behind and sit there and watch that. I've tried because I own they brought Adam West in to do the voice acting for an animated version of that. Yeah, and I tried to watch that. Yeah. And it was the Cape Crusaders, I believe.
Yeah,
and it was god awful.
The thing, but it's because you didn't grow up in that era.
Yeah, I mean,
I technically I didn't either, but I saw the reruns, and funny enough, and I've told you this before, is I watched it in Spanish, which was even more hilarious, because the onomatopoeias in that is epic.
Yeah,
it's epic. Yeah, pass.
But to me, I mean, even if you bring in other Batman movies, the Batman with Michael Keaton, just Batman, it holds up against all of them.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't think you're going to find a lot of other movies from that time period that do that.
I agree.
And I think mainly it was Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, he played a big role. He played
yeah.
a big role. There's not a moment that he's not on screen that just completely takes over.
Yeah.
He's just a dope dude, man. Like, and I'm happy that they got him because once you see him, you can't unsee him as the Joker.
Yeah, you don't.
And as a kid, which is funny because that's how I first saw him.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing him in movies like Werewolf and As Good as It Gets, and then I started seeing him in.
It brings a whole new light to anger management.
Yeah, well, on another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like when he's doing the whole brushing his hair with the electricity thing.
Yeah.
It's hilarious because you see his big old smile.
Yeah.
And he looks like the Joker. I get it. I get it 100%. But I still can't agree with the fact that I understand maybe Batman Returns might not be better than Batman to you like it is to me.
Yeah.
But again, to me, it's I'm biased because it's nostalgia for me.
Well,
I love that movie, but I definitely don't understand, and we don't have to agree. But I definitely think it's crazy that forever gonna be
I don't
better
like,
than Batman Returns.
I don't like crowded movies. I think most of the movies, especially superhero movies, that I dislike is my main complaint is there's too much. There's not a clear storyline. Like, I don't know if it was enough for Batman to defeat the Penguin, and Selena Kyle was, they kind of left her up in the air.
Well, yeah, because keep in mind Tim Burton was gonna make a third one.
Yeah.
And then that's when everything went awry.
Yes.
Which would have been cool. Just think about this, because I know you're a Marlon Wayans person.
Yeah.
Marlon Wayans was gonna be Robin.
That would have been weird, but I do.
Yeah, you see it though.
Yeah.
You see it like Tim Burton Batman. You see all this awkwardness and quirkiness, and you picture Marlon Wayans, and you're like, huh.
Yeah, it's intriguing for sure, and even now I would love for them to do it, but it was just too much. It was Penguin, Christopher Walken's character, Selena Kyle. It's too much, and then you had the new romance thing going on the side, and it's just like, what am I supposed to focus on? Why does this keep jumping? There's so much more that this movie could have been if it had just been.
But Batman is always, he's a pimp. That dude in the comics and any form of media, the dude's a pimp.
Yeah, and I mean, the love interest isn't my problem because obviously I loved
like
Batman.
Selena Kyle is his greatest.
Yes, I agree. But I believe that Selena Kyle deserved her own movie with another because with Batman you're always gonna have multiple villains. That's the thing because it's Gotham.
Well, the thing about
but you could have had a smaller one, not Penguin.
The thing about Catwoman though is she's hard to kind of do. It's kind of like how they did Venom, because he's like an anti-hero in Venom. But Catwoman is almost the same. Like she will break your heart and steal your stuff quick. But also, if she sees someone that's like needs help, will help. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's how I can see. It's kind of hard, especially at that time where comic book films are like
new,
barely on the uprising.
Yeah.
How do you do that? And especially a character like Catwoman, because keep in mind, everything is like up until now, everything has always been male, right?
Yeah.
And then imagine them making a Catwoman. It would be kind of difficult to sell as a studio for a studio film.
I think DC has always struggled with doing too much, though, because my main complaint about DC in general is, for their live action movies, is it's too much too fast. Slow down. Give me some foreplay with your movies. I don't need full gusto right away. You know what I mean? It's just slow down a little bit. Relax. You're giving me too much. It's overwhelming for an audience member to see all of this at once and try and take all of this in. Especially, I get it if you're doing it for kids, but that movie was so dark. It was so dark, and don't get me wrong, I loved it. in my live action Batman movies, it is my fourth favorite. Because The Dark Knight will always be number one for me.
I get you.
Because psychotic Joker is my favorite, and a crazy psychotic Joker.
See, I've always called Heath Ledger a little bit more like a chaotic anarchist.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's because the Joker is a true psychopath.
Yeah.
I think they tried to lead on in the beginning. Now we're getting into The Dark Knight. But it's just...
Yeah, we would have to leave that for a whole nother episode.
Yeah, that's going to have to be a different episode.
Yeah.
Not yet. Wait.
Hold on, tease me.
But I mean...
but I get it, because hands down. Well...
I'd say even Batman and Robin had a clearer plot point than Batman Returns.
No, that was a big old cluster of just craziness.
They executed it poorly, but I'm arguing that the plot point was clear. Don't get me wrong. It is not a good movie. It's not a good Batman movie. It's on the bottom of my list right above Adam West.
It's like...
But to me, it had a clear plot point. It was all about Mr. Freeze. And yes, they brought in Poison Ivy. And she
Bane.
was like...
And Bane.
Yeah, Bane, but Bane was a minor thing.
No, that was a pretty huge thing.
Yes and no, but in his role in the whole film, he was minor.
Nah, man. He was there. He was there from as soon as Ivy is made
to
the very end.
Yeah, but his role in the overall plot was minor.
Oh, no, for sure.
He was the muscle.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is definitely the star.
Yes. Now, they butchered him. They butchered Mr. Freeze. And we kind of talked about this.
Yeah.
That they butchered Mr. Freeze and they didn't do his character justice.
No, because Mr. Freeze is...
Cold.
Is cold, but at the end, you feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, he's
empathetic. You feel empathetic for him.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, he's not trying to cause any harm.
He's not a true villain.
He just wants the love of his wife. And in all honesty, I don't blame him. If there was something I could possibly do, if I was smart enough to do something about my wife dying, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, exactly.
I would do it in a heartbeat. So
he's a hard villain to hate.
Yes.
It's not like, Bane, who's just a glorified drug addict.
But you do hate him if he's punny.
Yes.
The whole cold as ice. Like, oh no, man. Who are you? Vanilla Ice? What's going on here? What's happening?
And to me, they were trying to make Arnold Schwarzenegger something he wasn't. Because in most good Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, he's not funny.
Well, in what is it, Kindergarten Cop? He's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, Kindergarten Cop and
that
Jingle All the Way.
I was about to say the movie you made me watch.
Yeah, I mean, those are he's kind of funny, but that's him really pushing himself. But you see him in Terminator, and if he played Mr. Freeze the way he played Terminator, you could have turned the whole movie around.
Yeah, but that's a whole different guy, though. Terminator's he's a cyborg. He's robotic by definition.
Mr. Freeze is so cold that he's borderline robotic.
But
he's
no,
he's
cold. To the point he's cold, but deep down his heart is still warm as hell.
Yeah, but only to his wife. But I'm saying when he's interacting with Batman, the only interaction should be cold. When he's interacting with other characters, the only interaction should be cold. And you should see the warmth only when he's talking about his wife. But everything else is cold, to the point. It's very executed. Point A, point B, straight line, no deviations. This is what I'm going to do because I have an end, and these are the means that I'm going to use to get there. And that's how he is.
I get you, but unfortunately that's not what they made.
No.
Definitely not.
That was the exact opposite.
Yeah.
They made this. They tried to make him funny. They made him funny looking.
Well, it's because again, that's what I'm getting at. Is from the beginning this whole toy thing. So by the time Batman and Robin comes along, the toy game is like it's the big part of the whole movie. So that's why you have, what was it, the Batmobile that skated, and then on one side Robin was on the one side, and then Batgirl was on the other side. Batgirl being in the movie, like,
Yeah, you're adding action figures. I get it.
yeah, and vehicles. And it's funny because, again, I am nostalgic for this film. I went to the movies. I remember I begged my family to go watch this film, and they let me go. And it's all because, we lived in Bronzeville, Texas at the time. And if you went across the border to Matamoros, Tamaulipas, which was where I was born, they had this thing for Wednesdays. You would pay for one ticket, but two people would go in. It was kind of like date night. But we would take advantage because we were an even number of families. So it was 6 of us.
Yeah.
So we paid 3 tickets. We all went in. Right? And I remember after we watched this film, I remember every single one of my family members hating me for making them watch this movie. But I was ecstatic, bro. Like, I remember I was like, dude, this is Batman. I love it. And then like now as an adult, I see it. Yes, it's cheesy. It's horrible.
It's bad.
It's bad, but I still have a sensitive spot for it. But the toys, I remember asking for that specific Batmobile because it was silver.
Yeah.
It was silver, and I remember I had it. My parents at the time couldn't get it for me, and that's when Walmart layaway came into play.
Yeah.
I didn't get it for Christmas, but the Reyes Magos, all my Latinos know what I'm talking about. They came through, and I got the toy. And I remember, man, I played with that thing so much. But that's where the whole thing became more and more and more and more kid friendly. You know what I'm saying? To the point where, if I remember, I haven't watched it in a bit, but Batman and Robin, if I remember correctly, there's a whole scene where like Mr. Freeze's bad guys are like dancing on ice.
Yeah, to the Cold Miser song.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like,
Shout out TikTok.
Yeah, it became cheesy for kids. No
Yeah.
longer cheesy campy, like for everybody. No, cheesy specifically for kids, which was funny because you would have been a kid at that time, but I guess your parents were just.
I don't think so. I mean, I would have been a kid at that time.
Yeah.
But I believe Batman and Robin came out in
think
'97.
I think it was like '99, bro.
Was it?
Yeah.
I want to say no, 1997.
97.
I only know this because
Oh, well then you would have been what, 2?
yeah, I would have been 2.
Yeah.
So
okay.
it wasn't cheesy for me.
Okay, I get it.
To be honest, at 2 it was probably horrifying for me.
Yeah, I imagine so.
What's the blue man?
More importantly, Bane.
Yeah, Bane would have been horrifying.
Yeah, but so I get the whole your argument that it's a lot, but it's because they tried to push, just like the studios, man. They want their money, they want their return somehow.
Yes.
So that's where that went wrong, and both of us can agree that film is horrible.
Yeah, I mean, but it was a cash grab. It was a cash grab for action figures, and I think a lot of studios did this. I think a lot of studios still do this. Toy Story 4 was Disney's biggest cash grab of the year.
Which one?
Toy Story 4.
Well, yeah.
It was a cash grab, and I think they knew they were on their way out with Batman Forever. And I think they had enough, viewings. I think they made enough money to where they're like, okay, well, the toys are going to sell. So if the movie's going to be bad, let's make it kid-friendly. Let's keep the same director because he made, the silly Riddler and the silly Two-Face. And let's make it silly and for kids, and let's sell toys.
Yeah, this is essentially what it was, the mindset, and unfortunately, that almost killed Batman.
Yes,
for a lot of Batman lovers.
Yes,
that's the worst part about it, is the studio almost killed Batman for us fellow Batman lovers. Yeah. And I say this for among one of our good friends that wanted to be on this episode but couldn't. Shout out to Connor. He would probably be equally as enraged with you speaking about
Oh, I'm sure.
Batman
I'm
Forever
sure when
being-
this episode comes out, I'm gonna get a phone call from him
Oh yeah, more
because
than
he's
likely.
not gonna be happy with me.
No. This is Batman is such a legendary because again, it's a guy just like us, you know, and as a kid, man, like as a kid, that's something that you kind of look upon.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like I understand a lot of people. There's some people that draw towards Superman, and then there's a lot of other people that draw towards Batman. It's one or the other. One is like one of the greatest superheroes with just about every imaginable superpower, to one that has no superpowers but it's just super smart.
yeah, super smart and just an unbreakable will.
Yeah,
Well,
dope.
until that
Yeah.
one thing with Bane.
Yeah, you know. But so it's just still crazy to me. But I understand your opinion. I respect your opinion.
Well, I'd be interested to hear what people that are listening to this think. If you're, you watched Batman Returns, Batman and Robin, Batman Forever. If you watched these when you were younger, do they agree with you?
Yeah.
Which I think most people would.
Well, I don't think so because I think I have a super sweet spot for Batman Returns. So I think most people's are in order just how they are theatrically. Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. Most people are going to probably say that. But I love Batman and Robin. I love Christopher Walken in that film. I love his...
You mean Batman Returns?
Yeah, Batman Returns, I'm sorry. I love that. I love him in that film. I love Catwoman. Man, like, I was a kid, and even then I was like, man, this chick is something else.
Yeah, nostalgia plays heavy.
Yes, so to me, I get why I do it. I probably millions of people, but it would be dope if anybody's out there listening, comment what's your order, because we definitely would like to see what's the majority of the opinions on this one.
I think that we are in a sweet spot right now to where a Batman Beyond live action movie can happen. Because if you bring Michael Keaton back as Batman, and you can even bring I don't know his name, but Robin, bring him back. He's still acting.
Chris O'Donnell, and he's yes, he is still acting. He's man, he's in that show with LL Cool J. It's the kind of show that you like.
NCIS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's one of those kind of shows you like to watch.
Yeah, crime shows.
Yeah.
But bring him back as Robin. Make him Nightwing now.
You know why I remember his name?
Why?
This is going on. Back in the 90s, there's a show where Rosie O'Donnell was a talk show. I don't know if you remember this.
No.
Oh man, it was the cheesiest thing, but it was everybody watches. Me and my sister Erica made me watch this thing, and I'm not gonna lie, I loved it. And she used to have this thing where like she would like shoot out little squishy balls out to like the audience and stuff like that. It was just cheesy, and it was like before she was like a lesbian.
Yeah.
So like it was like cheesy and she
Before
brought
she
him
looked
out.
like Ralphie May.
Yeah, basically. And she brought him out because of course I'm watching it because I'm a Batman fan.
Yes.
So I see from the movie Batman and Robin, and then what's his name? Chris O'Donnell. So what is one of the first things that they start mentioning is that they have the same last names.
Yes.
So from then on in, I can never forget his name. It's weird. It's weird how my memory works. I understand, but I just had to get you through my logic. But I will never forget this guy's name.
Yeah.
Because of that.
But I mean, think about it. A Batman Beyond movie. I mean, they could have even brought Robert Pattinson in.
Oh no! Don't speak of that.
We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no. Sorry.
It could be better than Batman Begins.
There's a good chance I'm not even gonna watch it.
I mean, I get it because I love the Joker and I refuse to watch the Joker movie.
Yeah.
I imagine I will have to, due to this podcast.
Yeah.
But
just to talk about it.
Yeah, just to talk about it. But that's the only thing. I own it. I think we should kind of let them know that we own a lot of movies.
Yeah, so this whole journey kind of started off by Larry coming into my house. I welcomed him to my house, and I have, since I was maybe 13, 14, I've always had an affliction for films. So about 13, 14, I think is when DVD came out, and I started collecting them, like movies that I like and I wanted, and my mom played a huge part in that too because she's a movie addict. Shout out to my mom because I know she's probably listening. So as far as movies, slowly but surely, keep in mind he probably came into my room when I was maybe 30, so about 2 years ago, maybe even three.
Yeah, two. At this point, it'd been maybe 2.5.
Yeah,
Two and a half years ago.
So it's a good little collection. I would say about at the time it had to be somewhere in the thousand.
Yeah, around 1,000.
Films, 1,000 films, and Larry is one of those compulsive. Like once he starts something, he has to finish.
Yes, I'm a completist.
Yes, and what happened was Larry saw my movie collection and he said, "Well, I don't think I would ever get into movies like that."
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely, you got into the physical media.
Well, because I started
digital.
collecting digital movies.
Yeah.
And at first it was just me and my wife were bored. We had nothing to do. We didn't want to go out. We were both working, tired, didn't want to do anything. So what we did was I rented a movie on Amazon. And then the next night, it was Pacific Rim. If anyone's curious, it was Pacific Rim. And it was right around the time that Pacific Rim 2...
Uprising.
Yeah, Pacific Rim Uprising was available for purchase on Vudu. It hadn't come out physically yet, but it hadn't come out...
I remember you talking about that.
It hadn't come out, to rent yet, but you could buy it early with Vudu if you wanted to own it and watch it. So I took advantage. I bought it, and then from there I bought Deadpool 2 when it no, not Deadpool. It was another series that we watched one, and the next night we went to watch another one. Well, eventually I had spent like $130 in a week renting movies because it was so convenient. And I told you about it.
I remember.
I said, man, I spent like $130 this week renting movies. And you go, oh, that's pretty funny because you wasted a lot of money. Because if you bought them physically, they're way cheaper now because you're watching older movies.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at this. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, the only DVDs I had was Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had all of the Dragon Ball Z movies and all of the Dragon Ball Z series. And I believe I didn't even have Dragon Ball at the time.
No, you didn't.
I was a strict Z man.
Yeah.
And
because you were proud of the way it looked on the
yes, because I found them at a pawn shop, and the guy was asking like $15, and I asked him if he would take $10 each set for all of them, and he said yes. So I spent like $130, and I had these, and they were mine, and I was proud. Well, then I start looking, and once again, I'm a cartoon man. And there's so many cartoons that I loved as a kid and loved as, like when I was like 12 that were on DVD or Blu-ray that, you can't find anywhere else. At the time, digital was just starting really to blow up.
Yeah.
You couldn't find a lot of older stuff. And so I just started going nuts. And I mean, now it's...
Yeah, at this point, he surpassed me.
Yeah, I'm somewhere...
By a lot.
I'm somewhere in the 2000 range for movies and
easily
100 complete TV shows and
yes,
all on physical. If it doesn't come with the digital copy, I'm not buying it digitally anymore. I want my hard copy, and I'm glad that I got into it when I did, because now you're losing bits and pieces of TV shows as they become offensive.
Yeah, like the community taking episodes off from Netflix. I get you there.
Yeah, but and I'm not gonna lie, the offensive parts are probably my favorite parts.
Well, especially that because I know you're into Dungeons and Dragons, and I keep trying to tell you you need to watch that episode.
I don't know if I was ready for the world to know that I was into Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, I'm sorry.
Now that they do,
I'm sorry, but hey, that's someone out there appreciates someone else liking it. Man, sorry, I never got into it.
You just fucking flipped the full nerd on him, huh? Just unveiled me completely.
I know, but I do want to say that's where this whole journey began. Is Larry saw this one thing and it just grew and grew and grew, and I was like, bro, you have all these movies. How many have you watched? and your response was like maybe 2-3%.
It wasn't that low. Give me credit. I've probably watched 50% of the movies I own. My wife, we did the math actually, and my wife owns 3% of the movies that I have. She has like 30, 40 movies that are hers, that she specifically likes. But a lot of these, it's, like I said, I'm a completist. So when I bought the Dark Knight set, I had to then buy the original 4 Batman movies.
Yeah.
Though I had never seen them, I had to have all of the Batman movies.
Correct.
And so then you showed me the DC animated movies.
You're welcome.
And hundreds and hundreds of dollars later.
but you gotta admit, like, it's cool because it's so much. Like, it just takes you onto a whole nother journey of like opinions, and like we differ a lot. Like, me and Larry are 2 completely different people.
Yeah, it's amazing that this works.
Yeah, we're 2 completely different people. The fact that we get along is beyond crazy, but it works, and
maybe that's why we're entertaining, is so we've been told.
Yeah,
that's why we're trying this.
at least that's what we've heard from maybe 3 people.
Yeah. That's all it takes to get us to try something. You tell us we're funny 3 times, that's it. We're gonna do something.
So, but we definitely started this, and the funny thing is, we would talk about, and just like we're doing now, we would talk about and argue about movies that he slowly started removing from the imaginary list that I created for him.
Start checking boxes.
And he would have slight agreements and slight disagreements. And it's funny because one time, I cannot remember his name, but my little sister probably knows who I'm talking about. He mentioned that he had a podcast and would like to have us on, but to her, never to us. And I didn't even know what podcasts were. I had to ask you what they were.
Yes.
And I was like, do people really listen to other people talk? And
yes.
Larry was like, yes,
I listen to podcasts.
I listen to it on a daily. And I was like, well, man, like, that would be crazy, huh? And then my wife one day recorded us while we were discussing Star Wars.
Yeah.
We were discussing Star Wars.
Same thing.
And she plays it back because of just short story, my wife her English is her second language. So she's still learning. So sometimes she plays back things just to make sure that she understands. And I remember her watching, and I was like, oh, did you not understand something? She's like, no, I understand it, but I'm just completely like, I'm hooked. I want to know more about Star Wars, and I don't like Star Wars. You know Monza doesn't like Star Wars.
She's not a Star Wars fan.
And she's like, I want to know about Star Wars, and I don't even like it. And so that's when and she was like, man, y'all should really do a podcast. And that's where this whole idea began. Yeah. So. And
we were shocked because your sister's friend, he came in with your sister and two other girls?
Yeah.
And when you're with one guy, you're the one guy in a group of 3 girls, and everyone's drinking. Yeah. And you sit on a couch for an hour and a half and listen to 2 fat guys talk.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about anyone else, but if I'm, a single guy hanging out with 3 girls, I'm not stopping to hear 2 guys talk about, I think we were talking about Toy Story.
No, we were talking about Disney films and the fact that, because you joined the Disney Movie Club.
Oh.
And you said you had to have it, even though you never watched it. I said, bro, there's certain movies you don't have to have. And your argument was, no, I have to.
Yeah. I have a lot of movies that I hate.
Yeah, so I'm completely the opposite. I will buy movies
because you like them.
Because I like them.
Every movie in your collection, you will watch.
Yeah, I will watch.
Except for one.
There's a few.
Except for one.
There's a few that I've probably gotten cheap or free.
Except for one, and I gave it to you.
Yeah, and we'll have to talk about that in another podcast because that's a funny moment. But as there are movies that I have that I probably won't ever watch again, or just but most of the movies, a good 98%, I like and I will watch over and over again. So that's the difference between me and Larry. And I remember he didn't say nothing to us, but my little sister told me, "Oh man, he was like completely like into y'all's conversation."
And he was silent the whole time.
Yeah,
I thought he fell asleep
so
because they had been drinking.
we don't remember your name, but thanks to you, my friend, you started this whole thought process. So definitely thank you for that. And just wanted to let y'all know like where this whole journey began, because little by little you're gonna get to know us a little bit more. We're trying to get y'all in on what we are and who we are, and how we think, and definitely how we differ.
The most interesting part of this podcast is going to be the dynamic between you and I.
Yeah, because obviously
You and
we
me.
we definitely
Yeah, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have the same career, but how we got there is two completely different things. And
yeah
that we have almost a decade age gap,
yeah
almost.
yeah
And I mean, it's just interesting. We find it interesting between us about how he sees things, and it's not just movies; it's everything.
yeah.
But movies is where we really discuss.
Well, that's the one thing I'm like most passionate about, I think.
I would have to say so.
So-
That and tools.
Yeah. But so as far as you guys, I appreciate you guys listening to us. Any love and support, any comments, please let us know what we can do better.
We will reply. We're new to this, but we're learning.
Yeah, we're learning, and we're trying. And as far as like what our next episode is gonna be, it's gonna be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not only the '90s, 1, 2, and 3, but also the Michael Bay 1 and 2. So 5 movies are the next set that we're gonna go ahead and discuss. Hopefully you're ready for that.
Oh yeah, I've been prepping.
Okay, and that's what we're gonna talk about.
Once again, I had only watched the first Michael Bay movie is what I figured out. I thought I had watched both Michael Bay movies,
And then I told you about it, and you were like, "Oh,
and then I started questioning. I had doubts.
yeah,
There was doubts.
yeah."
I found out I was dead wrong. I had watched the trailer for the second Michael Bay movie. So yeah, I've watched a lot of movies this week.
Yeah, and that's what our next discussion is gonna be. Hopefully, you guys will join us once again on this crazy imaginary list of movies that will never end, and hopefully, you guys will be there with us. Thank you for listening to Add It to the List with Evelio.
And Larry.